Hello, and welcome to another Cabin Fever edition of Inch from Insanity. Today, we're going to talk about the Capitol riots. It's going to be really hard for me to remain calm during this, but I don't want, I want to be shown that I can maintain a level head. So people go, oh, he's always yelling, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But this is a serious thing. I mean, this is a disgraceful chapter in American history. How can anyone still defend Trump after this? The politicians who voted before and after should be removed from office. I mean, the ones after are, of course, worse. But even before, you gotta remember, they're voting to go against voting. This is what they do in a dictatorship. Support the leader no matter what. No matter what the people say, no matter what the majority wants. So, like any true hypocrite, they follow their own teachings until it no longer suits them. And there's so much stupidity to go around. To compare this to the Black Lives Matter protest is quite ridiculous. Because, okay, while I do not condone violence, here's the thing. Anytime there's any kind of violence, people will take advantage. Like a protest, even if it's peaceful, someone over there will try to loot, try to riot. So, do I think some people went to the Black Lives Matter protest just to cause trouble. Some people went to usurp the respectability of the Black Lives Matter protest, either for maliciousness or apathy. But let's say, for argument's sake, that everyone who caused damage were Black Lives Matter protesters. They weren't, but this is just for the sake of argument. The anger behind the Black Lives Matter protest is understandable. They don't want to be shot anymore. I think I can get on board with such thinking. But this protest was about just being... Every generation is going to have the people who hate just to hate, and whoever happens to be the biggest voice of hate is who they latch on to. And Trump, like as people say, Trump revealed our nation, who we really are as a nation, how much work we still have to do. But also, I think, when you have someone like that in power, it emboldens more people to give in to their darker impulses. So people who may not necessarily give in to such things will. And of course, add to, there's so many people who are jobless, poor, and the COVID epidemic, add all that together and something was going to happen. The funny thing is, people often compare the Trump administration and the Republican Party to Nazi Germany and the rise of fascism. And of course, the comparisons can be made. But really, I think, in my mind, a better comparison has always been King Louis from Three Musketeers. Now, I've never fully researched how much he really was like that. I mean, the stories go, he was and his family was just greedy, horrible people. But I think specifically... The version of him, because it's the embellished version, is even more accurate. Now, it changed. Sometimes they even try to make him a good person. Sometimes he's just a fop. Sometimes he's just out of it. Sometimes he's just vain and doesn't care about his people. But the best versions, I find, the memorable ones at least, are the ones where he just doesn't care. He just wants to be rich and party, and no one matters but him, while Cardinal Richelieu is just running things. And in a lot of ways, when Cardinal Richelieu's like, he shouldn't be king, you almost want to go, well, yeah, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be in charge. There's some good versions of that. They're like the BBC Three Musketeers in recent memory. My favorite Three Musketeers is the one from the 90s Disney. Now, it's pretty silly swashbuckling action, but there's one scene in particular I want to bring up. It's when the King Louis, actually confronts Cardinal Richelieu, played amazingly by Tim Curry, I might add, and he says, there are rumors about you. Oh, there will always be rumors, Your Majesty. He says, which one would you like to bring up? And he says, oh, betrayal. He's like, well, of course, that one. And he's like, oh, yes, I plot against you, and I'm trying to seduce the Queen. And then he goes, but why pick that one, Your Majesty? There's so much better. I commune with the devil. I fly. I can control animals. And the King's like, well, I guess that is ridiculous. It's like, but one doesn't have to do with the other. Like, he's such an idiot that someone more evil can take over. And I think that's why it's a better comparison. But what I'm saying is, there's nothing to be angry about for these people. Because what are What rights are being taken away if Trump is no longer president and Biden wins? Nothing. Nothing is being taken from you. That's the thing. These kind of people are mad over nothing that is happening to them. Well, they're mad about other things, and they're believing the person, oh, that's the person's whose fault it is. And I think while talking about Black Lives Matter, I think it's important to talk about the woman who died, who was trampled to death, who was wearing a "Don't tread on me." Oh, yeah, I shouldn't laugh at that. Wait, an evil person died. I think I will laugh at that. But people are saying, oh, she was a military veteran. Okay. That doesn't make her a good... All respect to the soldiers, just being one or being a cop does not automatically make you a good person. And I'm really sick of that argument. Think of it. When someone who's black is killed by the police, the other side doesn't say, oh, mother of four, or he was a parent, a single father, he's never committed a crime in his life. No, it's always, they try, like when they tried to make Trayvon Martin look like a criminal when he wasn't. Now, even if they were criminals, that doesn't justify it, but that's not, I'm saying, these people, this is a violent protester, and they're like, oh, well, she served with distinction, and what they should follow is, yes, and that makes it a tragedy that she gave in to her demons. Perhaps she suffered from PTSD. Who knows? Maybe more information will come to light. Oh, and unless I'm wrong from the footage, isn't it interesting how in the Black Lives Matter protests, there's some white people there, and a lot of black leaders commented on what a difference it was from the 60s, how even more, it's almost even, the black and white people fighting for equality. I don't think I saw anyone with skin different than this at the protest. Did you? I do not think so. So apparently these people who represent the whole country, not a brown, black, or black face among them. I don't think so. Now, to be serious, also, at the same time, I think there's something I really want to talk about. This really touched me. Officer Eugene Goodman. If you ever see this, sir, thank you for your service. You are a brave man and should be hailed as a hero. This man and others who acted heroically should get medals. But this one, I want to focus on in particular. This man, and the footage proves it, used himself as bait to lure the protesters away. He risked his life to protect others. That alone makes him a hero. But it's a black man fighting fascists and racists and white supremacists. That's America. That's what it is. That's what makes a difference. And of course, the way Fox News depicts this, because of course they can't condone the violence, but they can still be like, this isn't this, but then they can try to downplay, oh, well, I'm not sure the president, it's incitement. I actually heard someone say something like, it's incitement, but is it criminal incitement? Yeah. No, it's the good incitement to riot. Head on over to the Capitol and everyone gets a pizza. Oh, and they were just outright lies. I like to try to watch both news. And they were just lying on, and I'm not talking about even just the YouTube stuff. I'm talking about Fox News was just lying. But again, they can't condone, this proves they have no thoughts of their own. Because anyone with any shred of decency would say this isn't right. I know people who are devout Trump supporters, very right-wing, saying, no, this isn't right. We lost. This is not right to do this to the Capitol. This is violence. This is... And they compare, but at least I'd rather them say, I don't like the Black Lives Matter process as much as I don't like this, than trying to say, this was right, Trump was right. I'd rather, sometimes you take what you can get with a gray area. And Trump, we need to say this, Trump told them to fight. That is a fact. That is not something you can dispute, even though they'll try. He even sent out tweets saying, good job, encouraging them to keep going. He said, go and fight. I'll be there with you. Banning him from Twitter, and since the taping of this, other social media, is right, because he's a violent man. And some people say, oh, well, the Ayatollah has a Twitter. Yeah, you're right. He shouldn't have one either. It's like, if that's the first one that... Well, I know. If you're talking about someone, and the only person you can think of who's worse on Twitter is the Ayatollah... that should be a wake-up call. Well, he's bad, but he's not as bad as that person who says we should nuke Uruguay, you know. At least he's not as bad as that guy. Why isn't his Twitter taken down? Apparently, Blue Lives Matter only up until it goes out the window when the cops are in your way. A cop died. One might lose his eye. Others are injured. Another cop killed himself after the events here. From now on, it's like you have a Blue Lives Matter sticker and you are despicable. I have my own thoughts on cops. But, oh God, I mean, Blue Lives Matter, and these are the people who shout Blue Lives Matter, and they're killing cops. I'm not even going to say anything else. You're saying Blue Lives Matter, and you're killing cops. Oh, then I have a little list of all the stupid stuff that happened. Let's see. At one point, the protesters were yelling, "Heave ho!" Do they think they're Vikings? I mean, that's like something you see in an old war movie or something. Oh, let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, there is literal, and I'll have to bleep this because this is not a swear. There was literal shit. They were smearing on the walls and urine and leaving it everywhere. Why? Oh, speaking of Vikings, how about the Viking guy dressed as a Viking, which has been completely condemned by any real Norsemen or Vikings, saying this, he's got all the Viking, he's got Yggdrasil. He's got Thor's hammer. Sir, you are not a Viking. Sir, I fought with Thor. I read Thor comics. You, sir, are no Thor. But it's... How can you be a Viking? And then, I wanted to mention this. Apparently, the man is being treated he demanded special food in prison, and he got it. Yet children in camps can't even get soap and toothpaste. Yeah, I'm sure the color of skin has nothing to do with it. These people tore down the American flag and put up the Trump flag. Are we sure that these people aren't the Confederacy? They built a noose. They were shouting, "Hang Mike Pence." Cops were taking selfies with them. And while this didn't happen at the thing, it happened just around the same time. So, now I'm not sure. I've been trying to research exactly what they did, but I'm not sure what but a manatee in Florida. This is an endangered species. A species so calm you can go right up to it was defaced. Someone wrote Trump on a manatee. Moving on. Okay. A cop was almost crushed to death by a door. They're trying to blame Antifa while saying this was still... Half of them are saying this was... this wasn't us. This was Antifa. And the other half are saying, like, it was us. Well, which is it? This is an attack by enemies of the state. The fact that they're peaceful, by the way, doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. I don't care that they were peaceful. They were there to protest America. That's what we need to say. You know, fight the steal, fight for Trump, stop the steal, all that stupid stuff. This might be what actually sends Donald Trump to prison. I didn't think he was going to go to jail until he did this. I mean, he's but at the time of this video, he's being impeached. The first president in American history impeached twice. He might, even though McConnell's trying to avoid it as all possible because, you know, he's a pathetic. I love all the rats deserting the ship, including McConnell's wife, because they want to just try to get out of this. I mean, McConnell's trying to, he let Trump turn the Republican Party into the party of Trump. It's too late to go back now. And people are like, oh, Trump doesn't care. He doesn't know. He thinks he is the quintessential spoiled brat. When I have a cousin, kind of reminds me of, and people I know. When you are called and told you're the best, no matter what you do, it's one thing to compliment a child. When you're told you are spoiled, no matter what you do, never punished. This is what happens. This is the kind of person you are. You think you can not do any wrong, and I doubt he's ever going to change. So, I don't even need to give a final opinion because I'll just say these were traitors, and I'm glad more than not people are calling them traitors and insurrectionists. They need to go to prison. They need to get severe sentences, and I think as high as Donald Trump and a bunch of his underlings need to be thrown out of office and definitely sent to prison. I wanted to give my opinion on this. I've given my opinion on it. Believe everything, trust nothing.